Ladies and gentlemen, what's up, people? Your man J.F.K. is here. It's breezy out here, boy. It is breezy. Feels real good, I ain't gonna lie, though. Good to see you, J.F.K. What up? Just getting home. Got to get to the computer. Becky's here. The long game is here. Everybody's coming here. Coming in here. We have a great show tonight. His name is Rico. waiting on his arrival right now. His name is Rico. Wrongfully facing life in prison at 18 years old. Would you believe it? Wild. Did you look into the case a little bit, Jay, bro?
I did look into the case a little bit. I just did a quick little brief reading over I Google searched it, so it's pretty
it's
wild,
crazy.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, he was in county jail from 2015 until I think up until he got sentenced, and sometime in 2021 or 2022, he was in a county jail being held. Imagine being inside a county jail for like 8 years, never being tried.
That's
Case,
crazy that they can even get away with that.
yeah, he was 18 years old. He's home now. He has a great story to tell. A man lost his life. He's going to tell the story. I'm going to let him tell it. But it wasn't murder. It was self-defense. It's a tale of two stories in life. One, the guy, he was a Marine. Rico was a gang member. So he had the deck stacked against him. He had the deck stacked against him for sure.
This was in Rhode Island, right?
This was in Providence. The man who lost his life, Colby was his name. R.I.P. Colby. I think his last name was Madonica. I think, is that the way you say it? M-E-N. I think you spell it Mendonca. He was buried in Bristol with military honors.
Mendonca.
Oh, Mendonca. Yeah. So he was 26.
It's crazy.
He served in Afghanistan for 2 years. So this is the tale of a man who served that country. It was a road rage incident. And he was 18, facing life in prison, ended up coming home, I think, after 16 years or something like that. Total. Maybe a little less. 14.
Was it 16 or 18?
Was it? I forget exactly what it was, but that's why he's here, to break it all down. That's basically the gist of the story. He's very articulate, this gentleman. And the reason for the story is back into the mindset of a young kid, 18 years old, sentencing guidelines, the way the system can get away with things like holding you in a county jail for 8 years before you get sentenced. There's a lot of people that are waiting to get sentenced. That's just been sitting, waiting. Young kids that don't know anything about the law, and they use it and abuse it. The power that is. So waiting on him to get here. Don't mind me if I'm a little bit choppy. I'm just checking my emails and checking my text messages, making sure that he's ready to go, because we do know that StreamYard sometimes get funky. So that's where we're at. Other than that, Jay, bro, how was your day, sir?
It was all right for the most part. You know, went up to Rhode Island for work, came home. Nice short day today. Can't complain.
It was self-defense, DB. Self-defense. He was not guilty of murder. They charged him with murder. And by that murder charge, the gist of it, by having that murder charge over him, they got away with abusing power, holding him in a county jail. It was 2015. It was during COVID, came around 2019, 2020. So his case kind of got pushed to the back. And that murder case was just holding him, messing up his movement. And then finally, they dropped the charges down to a manslaughter, and he took a plea. But he could tell the story better than me. On Obviously, like I say, he's a very well articulate kid. It's his story, it's not mine. And like I said, we're just trying to get into the mind of a kid who was 18 years old, committed a crime like this. What has he learned? What was it like looking down the barrel of life in prison? A road rage incident, a fight happens, a man lost his life, a soldier, R.I.P. Colby, loses his life.
R.I.P.
Two young men, and things just happened that day, right? And things do happen. It's very unfortunate, but we're gonna get down to the bottom of it. We're gonna let him tell his story, and then you guys can make your mind up what you feel about the story, and hear what he got to say. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to hear people out. You know.
All sides of the story.
Yeah. So we also have a live stream set up that you're gonna be redirected to, called "I Got So Much Trouble on My Mind." Refuse to lose. That's at 10 o'clock tonight. So we're gonna talk some talk. We're gonna go on the porch on the late night. We're gonna get into it.
Oh yeah, we are.
Did you hear any of that mess driving by? Did these do their job?
Yeah, they're doing your job. I can't hear nothing.
Good. That's why I'm looking around. There's a scat pat, a jailbreak or something just flew by me, loud as hell too. So
yeah, I didn't hear it. I don't know if the chat heard it. They got good ears, so
yeah. But yeah, as we wait for him, you know how we do it. Let's play a little bit of music. Oh.
I make the music, take the money, now it's no me get it. Without the dollars in the dark, and the people street it. I bring the Vegas in my head, and I'm people keep it. All of my donors got a cold. The motherfuckers acting chasing on my road. I gotta keep Daddy down on my coach. I gotta keep Daddy up on my soul. I be a little, for the rich get the whole time to on the ass, got me. Bounce away in the risky. I be a little.
Bars tonight, charged with the murder of a local Afghan war veteran. 18-year-old Erico Montalvo is accused of stabbing two people behind a Providence pharmacy last weekend, killing one of them. The murder victim, 26-year-old Colby Mendonca of Pawtucket, was discharged behind bars tonight, charged with the murder of a local Afghan war veteran. 18-year-old Erico Montalvo is accused of stabbing two people behind a Providence pharmacy last weekend, killing one of them. The murder victim, 26-year-old Colby Mendonca of Pawtucket, was discharged from the Army last fall and was laid to rest today. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Planner joins us live now from Providence District Court.
Steve, just hours after his 18th birthday, prosecutors say this suspect took a life that had served this nation.
Mr. Montalvo,
Barely a legal adult, 18-year-old Erico Montalvo arraigned for murder in Providence District Court Friday. His alleged victim, 26-year-old Army veteran Colby Mendonca of Pawtucket. Mendonca had survived the perils of Afghanistan, only to be stabbed behind an Elmwood Avenue Walgreens last Saturday. A vibrant and patriotic memorial now at that spot. American flags, a helmet, words like infantry and angel. Court documents tell the violent story. They allege Mendonca and friends went to this lot to buy alcohol from a bootlegger. There, Montalvo struck their pickup with his Lexus. A fight broke out. It ended with Mendonca and friend knifed. Prosecutors say that friend spoke with detectives in the hospital.
I was able to identify the defendant as the assailant upon him, as well as present during the assault upon Mr. Mendonca. The defendant also inculpates himself in that he admitted to police that he did in fact stab Mr. Mendonca on this particular morning.
Police say they pulled images of Montalvo from YouTube rap videos and made up a photo array, and that led to the positive ID. Montalvo is naturally held without bail at the ACI, no plea entered, and the case now referred to Superior Court. And as that arraignment unfolded, Colby Mendonca's funeral mass followed by burial, one with full military honors. Live at the Providence Mobile Newsroom tonight, I'm Jared Planner, Eyewitness News.
Tragedy all the way around.
Yeah, it is.
Tragedy all the way around. And keep in mind, he only got manslaughter. And not saying that that doesn't lower the blow at all. R.I.P. Colby, Marine veteran. Should I say lighten the blow? Excuse me. It's still a sad situation, but these things happen with road rage and then things like that. So we're gonna get into the story. We're gonna hear his side of the story about how what jail did to him, his growth, where's he at now, his mindset, and how he feels about this whole situation, how it unfolded, and things like that. So we're waiting on him right now. Like I said, I'm a little choppy right now because we're waiting on the guest. So we'll see how this all plays out. Yeah, sad, man. It was a couple hours after his birthday, too. How wild is that?
Is that you freezing up or me?
I'm freezing up.
I don't know if it's you or me.
That might be you. I think I'm all right, bro. Am I frozen? Nobody's freezing up.
That must have been mine. I was freezing.
Oh. Do you hear what I said? I said it was a couple hours after his 18th birthday. How crazy is that?
Wow, really? No, I didn't hear that. That's insane, bro.
Yeah. And it runs with the theme, right? It runs with the theme that we've been talking about the mindset, kids. If you're out there in the streets, things happen. Things happen when you're out here in the streets, for sure, for sure. You know?
Yes, sir. Tupac said it in one of his songs, 25 to life never crossed their mind.
Wild. Wild style, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. He should be here shortly. Yeah, a lot of things going on. Karen Reed, civil trial. Eddie O'Brien is doing his Rule 30 soon, going back to court. There's a book coming out, too. Margot Nash got a new book, new chapter. J.F.K., how do you feel about parents getting chins on teenagers? Well, that's the ecosystem, right? I feel like if you give chins to the kids, I mean, in certain situations, you probably need it, right? If you ain't got a father in the house or something like that, I would assume that you need something to kind of, get things in alignment for sure. But once the kid gets the silver bracelets wrapped on his hands or behind his back, it's very hard for them to buy in after that. Now that's all they know, or at least that's what they think they know. And then it can spiral out of control, and the school system will feed them to the court system, and the court system will feed them to the sheriff's department, and so on and so on. It's a brutal, brutal ecosystem.
That's for sure.
I listened to the reading. What a chins. It's basically, I forget
Isn't
exactly
it
what
child in need of protective services or some shit like that?
Yeah,
Child in
something
need of
like that.
services.
Yes, sir. Something like that. Yep. My nephew's 13 and running wild. My sister said they want to put a chins. I said, no, don't do it. Well, if they have no other choice, 13 running wild, man.
That all depends on the person themselves too. It's either gonna fix them or make them worse. It all comes down to that at the end of the day. It depends on that person.
Yes, sir. Something long gamers energy check.
Long gamers, it is time to match the energy. Let's feel the energy.
J.F.K. in the mix.
Come on.
Get up. People get up. Stomp your feet. Let's get down.
Match the energy. Turbulence in the chat keeps the plane running. We are all we got. The pivot is magical. One's up.
J.F.K. in the mix. shadow.
Everything comes from the stoop. Everything.
What's this?
What's what?
I'm just seeing something different. The chats. That's one, huh? That's it? All that is, huh? I miss Kevy Kev. Gonna wait. He was on the other night. What are you talking about?
Hey,
Kevy
you
Kev
guys
was.
went live a couple nights ago, right?
Yeah. Kevy Kev's here. I think he's in the chat, no? Yeah.
I tried to call him earlier. He didn't answer me.
Kevy Kev on the Cash App. Nathaniel said he watched Rico tell his story on a recorded show. Very enlightening. Sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders and staying in the right path now. Looking forward to hearing more from him. Exactly. We're just waiting on him right now. These things sometimes take times. You guys are actually cool. Wow. Would you believe it?
Thanks, Artie.
Avril, same with one son, hated sitting in class, loved sports. They put him in front of a judge. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do. For sure, for sure, for sure. It's not fun. It's not fun. It is not fun. You know? Kevy Kev rebuilding an engine, right?
He's always building something.
Yes, he is.
That's the type of guy that will tear apart his car just to rebuild it.
Indeed, indeed. Indeed. This case is about a young gentleman and another young man, one a gang member, one a Marine, two different sides of the tracks. Colby lost his life. Rico was looking down the barrel of life in prison, ended up getting it reduced to a manslaughter charge, which it was to begin with. That's his words. And yeah, and he did a long time and he came home and now he's on a different path. Long day, kids, but happy. Glad to be here. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Something like wacky going on in my chat. Like something's not the same.
Well, I thought you said people are going wacky. I'm like, what? Who's starting now?
No one's done. Always just have a weak side for the victims and the family. I will stay open-minded this time. I mean, he did his. I mean, he got time. It's not like he didn't do his time. I mean, he did his time. I mean, that's up to I mean, obviously, that's up to one person's opinion to think how much time they should do, right? For something like that. But if you hear his story, that's the whole point, to hear exactly what happened that day. I mean, at this point, I would assume that's what happened because the judge and the court gave him that plea and put it on the table because there was witnesses who said that's what happened. But that's what we're waiting for. We'll find out, right? We'll find out.
Indeed, we will, sir.
And that's why he's here. He's not here to tell the story because he's glorifying. He's here to tell the story about how, it was just a bad day. It was just a bad day. And takes accountability, That's what I think more so why he's coming on here, for the accountability factor and to get closure. But he's late, I'll tell you that. But hey, things happen. This happened before, right?
Yes, sir. And we get
You know,
through it.
the show goes on. The show goes on. Show goes on.
Always
I'm trying to wonder why my starred comments ain't where they usually are. JFK, I'm not here for any trouble. I didn't say you was. I'm excited to hear him tell his story.
Do you have it on private chat or comments?
No, I have it. I have why? People can leave comments.
No, because when I go to private chat, I can't see the starred. And when I go to comments, I can see the starred.
There's no private chat.
Well, my thing might be different than yours.
I mean, I didn't touch nothing. I didn't change it up. I don't know. Maybe it's a glitch in the matrix. I have no idea what exactly is going on.
Seems like there's a lot of those lately.
Yes, sir. This is true. Beth Bay State. What up? Oxymoron. What up? Carol. What up? Yeah, I mean, the juvenile system, obviously at 18 years old out there, you're an adult. And we're gonna ask him, did his juvenile, being that young, did that help him to get less time? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to hopefully find out.
Rhode Island is a different state. If people don't know about Rhode Island, Providence is not too far from Boston, about 40 minutes from the city of Boston. So it's close, but it's a whole different state. A whole different state.
All different state and all different laws.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, our boy Rico. What up, my brother?
How you guys doing, man? Sorry, I'm thinking I'm waiting for you guys whole time. All I gotta do is press the link, man. It's my first time. I apologize, guys, man.
Nah, I get it. It's all good, brother. Things happen, man. You know, we're all here waiting. We're very patient for sure, you know. It is what it is. So I go by the name of J.F.K. That's my co-host Jay Brill. And you go by Rico Made It.
Rico still made it.
Rico still made it. You want to touch upon that real quick? What's that all about?
It pretty much just self-descriptory. I would say it just comes from not supposed to be here, you know, not being able to dream at one point in time because of my circumstances, you know. So the double entendre to the name is just anybody whoever felt like I wasn't gonna go anywhere. Whenever they say my name, they have to declare with their own mouth that I still made it. And those who were rooting for me say the same, because the Bible says that with the sword of the tongue, you make death, and you make life. Meaning you could speak good things into existence or bad things. You understand? So when you speak my name, you speak success over me. You feel me? So that's where it comes from.
Wow. So you get deep with it, huh? So you're deep into church?
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm a
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up? You grew up in Providence?
Yeah, I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. It's a really small town. I would say it's between Mass and Connecticut. A lot of people don't really know what it is. If you bring it up to anybody, they think it's Long Island. But yeah, Rhode Island is not too much of a state. We don't really have any basketball teams or anything. We really go off of Boston's lifestyle. So we go for the Red Sox, we go for the Celtics, you know, things of that nature. But this is where I grew up.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you're caught in the middle of it. You're either New York or you're Boston, right? It's like it's a forgotten place, Rhode Island and Connecticut. It's weird because people say Boston, New York. They never talk about Rhode Island or Connecticut. So many parts of Connecticut too. It's wild.
So yeah, identity. So we get caught in the middle, like how you said.
Yeah. So what's your nationality? You Puerto Rican?
I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican. Yes, sir.
Oh, you're Dominican and Puerto Rican. Awesome. So what's it like out there in Providence? It's a rough town out there, right?
It's pretty tight knit. It's so small. And it's a really urban community. There's a lot of Latino, there's a lot of Cape Verde, a lot of African Americans, and it's really mixed up, you know what I mean? So there's rough areas, there's nice areas as well, but I'm from the more impoverished area, so it's a little rougher where I'm from. The good thing is there are more Spanish communities than anything, I would say. So like I'm from the south side of Providence, which is Rhode Island, and that's, I would say, 85% Latino, you know? So it was a little comforting for me to grow up around my kind and my culture. But it definitely gets sticky growing up here because, you know, everything is on top of each other because it's such a tight knit. It's so small. I believe we're like the smallest state on the map. Our population be like 1 million, you know? So it's pretty tough growing up here if you're in any sorts of lifestyles as far as the street.
So let's touch upon that. So you growing up, did you get caught up in the streets? Was you caught up in it?
When I was a kid, my father was deported when I was about like 5 or 6 years old, and my mother lost custody of me when I was around 7 years old. So I grew up in the foster care system, and I was in and out of group homes, and so that just got me down the wrong path as far as just behaviors and flocking towards people with the same behaviors as me, as far as rebellion and stuff like that. And it ultimately led me to build bonds with people who had the same hurt I had, which landed us in a street type of environment as far as the group of people that I rolled with, you know? And that became a gang, and then the gang came with the problems, and then that lifestyle was really what I was living. So it just unfortunately got me into a lifestyle that was to my detriment for the most part.
Now, what happened with school? Did you go to school? Did you skip school? Like, how did you do there? And was you ever caught up in the juvenile system?
Yeah, so when I was younger, it's called if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's called socially developing. When you're in elementary school, they don't even check for your grades, your studies, anything. They just pass you on, you know. And then middle school is the same up until you get to high school. And then once you get to high school, they start to fail you up until you realize there's no point. You missed a bunch of grades from acting up when you was in middle school. You're in ninth grade, you can't pass ninth grade, and now you're 18. You know what I mean? So that was my, as far as school leading up to high school. I wasn't really able to really like make the most of high school because I was getting locked up in the juvenile system, which is it's called the Rhode Island Training School, the RITS for short. And I was in and out of it just for like small delinquencies, but it was taking a lot of my time in intervals. So it'll be like 90 days, 6 months, 60 days, and it was back to back. And so I wasn't really able to enjoy like a lot of freedom when I was in my teen years. And the little bit of freedom that I did have, I wasn't really putting my attention towards school, you know?
Right. So did you end up graduating or you get your GED later?
I ended up getting my GED when I was a few days away from, I would say I was like 20 days away from turning 18 years old in the training school, which is the juvenile prison for youth. I ended up getting my GED 2015.
Nice, bro. Nice. So when you was in that juvenile detention, did they commit you? Is that how? Because I know in Massachusetts, I was in the system back then. They committed us till we was 18. Were you committed, or did they hand out bids? Like, how did that work?
All right, so if you don't have like a support system like as far as like a mother or a father or a family to take you, you're basically property of the state. So that was the case. Have parents, so they don't release you on your own recognizance because you're a minor. So when I used to get out of the juvenile prison, I used to have to go to like group homes and programs so that they could have custody of me because I didn't have nobody to have custody of me, which ultimately kept me in the loop because let's say, for example, I leave the training school as a free man or as a free youth, right? Right. Group, I have to follow by the guidelines of the group home as if I'm in there for punishment. And if I don't, I go back to the training school. You know what I mean? But it depends on what you're sentenced. So we have something called FOC. And FOC, if you catch a big enough charge, they can hold you until you're 19 years old. It used to be 21, but they lowered the age to 19. So that's basically considered juvenile life. But it isn't mandatory for everybody who gets committed.
Okay. So you didn't have good placement at home. So when you got out, they always would just put you to foster homes, these group homes, and then you would have to adjust, huh?
Back to the state. And I didn't have a FOC sentencing, but I had a FOC probation, which basically just meant until I aged out as a juvenile. So I was 18. So when I would get out to these group homes, I would leave. I would go AWOL. I didn't want to live there. I wanted to be around normal life. I would get violated because I would be AWOL. I would get a warrant out for my arrest. And when I would get stopped by cops, I would have to go to jail. And so this was the cycle continuously, you know?
What do you think? Do you think there was long lasting effects of juvenile detention with you? Like still to this day?
So it was the first time I experienced that sort of confinement. And we're not meant to be confined. We're social creatures, you know? And so when I experienced that confinement,
that's a fact.
I spent like a lot of time narrating myself as conscious my thoughts, you know, because you're in the cell by yourself, you're young. There aren't any electronics like in the adult systems. So you're in the room a few hours a day, most of the day. Basically, the only thing you get out is like gym and the cafeteria and stuff like that. So I just started like being able to develop. I wouldn't say it's a skill. I just started being able to learn how to reflect on things because it was just a lot of daydreaming. You know what I mean? And so those effects absolutely lasted on me because as I developed into an adult with an adult mind, by the time I was developing, I was already in the adult system going through a jail bid. And so it helped me not go crazy to the confinement that I was submitted to, but it also helped me do like process of elimination as far as what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And I do it to this day just because of how I'm able to reflect on things. My memory is pretty it's pretty vivid as far as everything that I've been through. So that process of reflecting on things on top of the things that I remember, it just helps me make decisions as an adult. So it definitely started in the training school, I would say 100%.
Okay, good. That's a good answer for sure. So let's go back to 2015. It is right. It's a couple hours after your birthday. Is that the word on the street when this incident happened with Colby?
Yeah. So I turned 18 years old, July 10th, 2015, and by 2 a.m. July 11th, 2015, my whole life changed, and I was basically on the run for first-degree murder. And so I ultimately got arrested about 3 or 4 days later, and I was in the ACI at 18 years old with a first-degree murder charge over my head.
So what exactly happened that day? Do you want to speak on that? how are they saying it was murder, and was it a murder?
Okay, so the day of my birthday, which was July 10th, out with friends, and we had been partying for like a significant time. I was just in the back seat of my friends' cars, and we were going to the studio because I make music, and we all met up there. And then from there, we went to a little get together, and from there, we went to a street that we have called Thayer Street, which is basically like it's just one of the streets with all the restaurants and stuff like that. And so we were there. I would say it was about, excuse me, I would say it was about 1 in the morning, 1:30-ish around that time, which is normal time to start heading home. But because I figured it was my 18th birthday and I wanted to go hard, like per se, there were after hours in the city that I wanted to go to. And so my friends that do want to leave and go home and call it a night, I'm telling them like, come on guys, it's my 18th birthday. We can't call it a night so early. So because it was my birthday, nobody told me no, and they said, all right, let's get more alcohol. So we have a thing called bootleggers in Rhode Island, and they basically bring you alcohol after the liquor stores are closed, and they meet you in public places so that they don't be robbed or nothing happens to them. You know what I'm saying? So they always agree to meet you in pharmacy, parking lots, and things that are lit up at 1, 2 in the morning. And in my circumstance, it was Walgreens. And so we headed from Thayer Street to the Walgreens, and we completed the mission. We got the bottle. We opened the bottle, and one of my friends ended up pouring out some liquor for our friends that have passed away, which is just like a traditional thing people do in the streets. And out of drunkenness, one of my other friends got upset about it, and they started to argue, and they ultimately started to fight. While they're fighting, there's a pickup truck behind us just having fun with what's going on, and they're saying fight, fight, fight. You know what I'm saying? And so they end up chasing each other around the parking lot to the point where they're out of view. And so I wanted to get out of the parking lot because I didn't know what could happen. I was heavily in the streets at the time. I didn't know if somebody that we had problems with could have saw us. And I tried to take matters into my own hands, and I got in the driver's seat. But the problem was I didn't have a lot of driving experience. So when I was backing out of the spot, the truck that was behind us saying fight, 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 I ended up getting into a fender bender with their driver's side door. But when I back all the way out the spot, I get out the car, I look, and I see there isn't any damage. I was green enough as an 18-year-old that I didn't know that people exchange money for the cops not to be called. So I thought if there was no damage, everything was all set. So whatever they were saying, I kind of wasn't even transmuting it because all I heard was, yo, we're cool. And I didn't even let them continue. All I heard was, we're cool. Little did I know they was getting ready to probably tell me, just give us a couple dollars, we won't call the cops. So when I heard we're cool, I'm thinking, okay, I'm good. Back to the original plan. So I get back into the car and I end up rolling the car. I'm not even hitting the gas because I'm looking for my friends. I'm trying to get them in the car and get out of the situation, which was my plan. So by the time I got from the side of the Walgreens to the back of the Walgreens, I hear a loud skirt. And my girlfriend at the time was still in the back seat. She tells me, watch out, with a loud scream. I look up, I get cut off by the pickup truck. I almost crash. Somebody jumps out of the pickup truck. They reach their hand into my window and snatch my chains off my neck. When my chains are snatched off my neck, my girlfriend at the time gets out of the back seat to try to defend me, and she starts punching on this person. Now, she's a female at the time, or she's a female still, but she's a teenager at the time, I meant to say, and she's 16, and I turned 18 that day, and the person that did this to me was a grown man. So I quickly try to get out the car and grab her and throw her back in the car because this is not a female's type of game. So when I get out the vehicle, I try to go around to grab her, and I'm met by another person who attacks me. He starts assaulting me. I start trying to do my best to get away, but he's on me, and he assaults me repeatedly to the point where I had a knife in my back pocket. And so I ultimately end up taking out my knife to defend myself until I get him off me. By the time I get him off me, the friends that I was with that drove behind us in the car to that Walgreens, they end up coming towards the back, and they just see the end of the commotion, and they tell me, yo, get in. So I dive in the car and we take off. And the next morning I get woken up to one of my friends that was there that night, and he ends up explaining the situation. Now in the moment, I don't know it's anything more than just I got a couple guys off me with my knife and I made it back home safe. When I get woken up the next morning, my friend tells me in my room at about 7 in the morning, he came and knocked on the door, and I was living with my girlfriend at the time. So her mom tells me somebody's at the door. I tell her to let him in. He comes in my room and he tells me, please tell me you didn't do it. So I make him go outside because I didn't want the mom to hear anything. We get outside and he tells me, yo, I was in the station for like the whole night. I ended up getting grabbed. This was my friend that got into the fight with my other friend and had to take off running. So apparently he ran into the Walgreens because in our state, we have security. So he saw the security behind him, stood put. But when the cops came, they took him for disorderly. While he was in the Walgreens, we were in the back of the Walgreens going through our situation. So when the cops grabbed him and detained him, they took advantage of his ignorance. He didn't know what happened. And they just
How old was he?
He was about 26 years old at the time. He was a
Your
little
friend, your friend.
Yeah, he was older than us. He was about 26. I was 18. My girlfriend was 16. So they just take advantage and they're just stamping things and they're asking who's he with, what are you guys out for, why are you guys out at this time, and ultimately they get my name and it cements me on the scene as the person of interest. Now they know who I am and they know who my girlfriend's name is. So he comes to the house and he tells me, yo, I was there and I didn't know what happened, but they started asking me who I was with and I told them not knowing, and then they ended up asking me what we were out for, and I told them we were just out for your birthday. And he said by the end of the interview they told me that somebody was in critical condition and that they want to talk to you. They told me to tell you to go in, that they just want to talk. And so in the moment, I didn't really take it as serious because at first it was just like, all right, I'm not going to talk to no cops because I'm probably not going to come back out because I'm not the most just looking citizen, you know? I look like a gangbanger. I've had these tattoos on me since I was 16 years old. So I knew that the due process to a certain extent wasn't going to get fully followed. I wasn't willing to risk it. So I told him, all right, bro, thank you. Keep me posted if anything. I end up going back inside and I end up getting a phone call. And the phone call is from one of my other buddies that kind of seen what happened and had been checking the news. And he told me, yo, I got bad news. And so I asked him what, and he tells me, yo, the dude that you got into it last night with, he passed away. And so this is how I find out how severe it ends up being. And he ends up telling me, yo, I got more bad news than that. And I'm already in shock and going through a whole bunch of emotions. And he ends up telling me, the dude that passed away did a tour. He was a Marine. And so all this news falls on me like a ton of bricks. And I don't even know how to process it. So I end up hanging up the phone and I just felt like just a devastating feeling, you know what I mean? Because I went to sleep thinking that it was all good and I woke up to like just a whole nother world, you know? And that was like that was the changing factor in my life that night.
Yeah, I would say so. Huh? So these guys were being aggressive with you, and they basically, when you bumped into them by mistake, they were you in your mindset. What you're saying is you thought you didn't know that how it goes is, hey, give me a couple dollars and I'll go my way, you go your way. You didn't understand that process because you weren't schooled on that. Like you said, you had no driving experience or anything like that.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough because I actually had money on me that night. I had about $100 on me. And had I would have known, I probably, but I just didn't know.
You didn't know. So now, here we go. You got a warrant for murder. You know how this goes, right? They're coming to get you. What are you doing? What's your mindset? Like, what were you thinking?
Right. I'm panicking to the point where I don't want to stay in one spot. And I'm moving around a lot and I'm laying down in the backseat of cars and I'm going to different people's houses to try to be low key, but I just can't. I'm just too anxious. I buy a phone from Walmart because I feel like they could be looking at my phone or my phone is tapped or something. But in real life, I have no game plan. I have no money to run if I wanted to run. And on top of the fact, I'm kind of telling myself like, yo, I shouldn't really have to run. So I'm trying to convince myself that I'm going to be okay, all the while knowing that things don't really go as black and white as we would like them to as far as the justice system. I just was telling myself like, all right, if they do catch up to me in these next couple of days, I'm not in the wrong and it's not over. But I was still scared at the severity of what was going on. So I lasted about 3 or 4 days, and they have been following me for 2 days already, just watching my movements, and I didn't know. And so I kept seeing this black pickup truck with tinted windows with Massachusetts plates, which I thought was either a rental or somebody, with a rental driving around. I mean, I thought it was somebody with a rental or some cops, because when we see mass plates with tinted windows in an up-to-date car, we
Dato.
yeah, you know. But
Oh
it was
yeah.
a pickup truck, and I had seen it sporadically throughout the day, and it wasn't until the last time I saw it that I knew, like, oh, that's somebody, because we were parked on a dead end. And we have an institute called the Nonviolence Institute where I'm from. And the director of the Nonviolence, his name was Tenny Gross. And so Tenny Gross was really, really involved with gang members and people from the street and people of just struggle beginnings. And he just would do his part to try to help your life out to the best of his ability. So he had relationships with almost all of us, because they used to give out free haircuts, and he done got some of us hotels before just so we don't be in the streets. And he was just one of those guys. And so some of my friends told me, like, yo, let's call Tenny and see if he can help us at least turn you in, so that way you don't get shot or something when they grab you, or they don't harass you because you don't have representation. Maybe he could get you a lawyer. We were just thinking of whatever help he could give us would be better than nothing. So we ultimately end up speaking to Tenny Gross, and he tells us, he tells my friends that call him, bring him to the Nonviolence Institute. I'll call some of my friends that are police officers, and I'll turn him into them so that nothing happens to him. And so I felt safe with that plan, and that was the plan. The problem was nobody in the car had a legit license. So we went to a friend's house that had a license so he could drive us there, which lived on a dead end. When we get onto this dead end, I end up noticing the pickup truck again. But this time they don't know the streets are dead end, because they end up having to bang a U-turn. When they bang the U-turn, they don't have 5% tint. They have about 30% tint. So you can't see as much, but if you look, if they get close enough, you can. And so we're in a sedan. They're in a big GMC truck. So we look up and we see a gold badge on a chest. It's slightly, but you can see. And we're like, yo, that looks like cops. We didn't make it around the corner. We were planning on heading to the Nonviolence from there. We got around the corner, and I got swarmed by about, I'd say, like 7 to 8 police cars, some undercover, some blue and white, some were in state trooper cars, which at the time were still the Crown Vics and stuff like that. And they all jump out with guns drawn, and they tell me to put my hands up, and they end up arresting me. So when I get arrested, I go to the station, and they get right at it. They get the questioning me. They get the attacking me. They're telling me, yo, you went into a drunken rage because they were going to call the cops on you. So you just started stabbing people like a wild man. And I realized right away they had their own narrative, but I'm fighting
They're trying to frame you up. Quick question, real quick, from Pretty Eyes in the chat. This is one of our long games. That's what we call people in the chat. She said, did any cameras pick up what went down that night?
All right. So when they're coming at me with this aggressive questioning and this narrative that they're painting,
right.
When the incident happened, we were basically in a pharmacy drive-through where you pick up medication.
Right.
So myself, the camera had to have caught everything. And if so, I don't really got nothing to worry about. The fact that they're saying it the way they're saying it, I don't really have to pay mind to it, because I might be on camera for the most part. So I get to telling them that I was robbed. And if there's cameras there, like how they say, because they were starting to say things like, oh, you're on camera, we know what happened, but they were painting it a certain way. And so I'm arguing back with them like, yo, if that's the case, then you guys know that I was assaulted and I was robbed. You guys also know that the incident happened on the side of the Walgreens, the initial fender bender, and I was attacked in the back of the Walgreens. And so that was the back and forth. I wasn't sure if there was footage yet, but I was banking on the fact that I did. In the moment, I wasn't sure, though. I just knew that there were cameras all around Walgreens, so more than likely I was on camera. But not until you get your discovery do you know what and what's not on camera. I know that now after I've been in the system, But at the moment, I had never been in the adult system or arrested for anything that I needed a discovery package. So I just wasn't sure at the time. It
Now
wasn't
you
until
talk. Let me
I,
just stop you real quick. You talk real articulate now. You're very calm, well spoken. Seem like a real bright dude. In that space, in that time in 2015, were you like this? Were you? Is this your demeanor? Is this who you are? Or you a little bit more wild when they were coming at you like that? What was your reaction?
I'm calm. I'm not as articulate now because I'm older, so like I'm not ashamed of my vocabulary being fluent. Like when you're younger, like growing up how I grew up, you start talking a little bit too articulate, people start looking at you like yo, who you think you are, and when your brain is still soft, you care about stuff like that. So the only difference is my slang was a lot heavier, you know what I mean? But it was
Okay.
for the most part the same thing. Like I wouldn't yell or I wouldn't go crazy in there. And they kept leaving me alone in the interrogation room. But growing up, I watched First 48 and I watched and thinking out loud and stuff like that. I've seen stuff like that growing up. So they was leaving me in there for hours at a time and I was just going to sleep to the point where they stopped doing it. But yeah, to answer her question, I didn't know yet if I was on camera or not because it took me a while before I got a discovery package to see footage or anything.
So you get arraigned. They arraigned you for first degree murder. Did you even understand? Did you even at that point you're like, how is this first degree murder? I take it, right? You're like, what are they talking about?
Absolutely. So when I go to court, the lawyer that I was supposed to have didn't end up coming to the precinct to help me out in the interrogation or to even help me fend the cops off me. I don't end up seeing him until I'm in the holding cell next to the courtroom about to get dragged into the courtroom. So I talked to him for about 30 seconds before I got in front of the judge, and he told
A
me
public defender?
this was a paid lawyer that I was going to pay. But what happened was he agreed to represent me before I went in. So when I was out for those couple of days before I was arrested, I called him and I told him, yo, I need representation. He said, I got you. When I got into the station and I was calling for him, he wasn't showing up until I was getting arraigned. He's there and he tells me what happened. What did you say? And so I'm like, what do you mean? What did I say? I was calling for you and you didn't come. So I told him that I defended myself. So I see he's upset, but he don't even have time to process it. He tells me, come on. We walk into the courtroom and I see cameras flashing and it's just like a whole movie that I wasn't really expecting. It was just hitting me in real time. So when I get in front of the judge,
Did it work against you? Did it work against you? Sorry. I just want to add one thing before I forget. You talked about how you met up with this he was like an advocate like for gang members and you were going to turn yourself in. You were actually on your way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Meet him and go see the cops. But they intercepted you. Did that work against you like during your arraignment? Like when you're telling them, "Hey, I was just going to turn myself in." Like were they like switching it up like you were trying to run?
It really didn't do anything because when they arrested me, they were asking me where you going? And so imagine the cops are chasing somebody for a murder. And when they stop him and they ask him where you going, he says nonviolence. They all laughed and they thought, oh yeah, right, nonviolence. But one of my friends wasn't going for it. And he was like, call Tenny Gross, call him right now, call Tenny Gross. So they ended up really calling Tenny Gross and he told them, yeah, I was waiting for him right now because they told me like, yeah, we spoke to Tenny Gross and he said that you was going to turn yourself in. But that wasn't even mentioned in my arraignment because, the prosecutor wants to tear you down as much. So there weren't any helpful factors like while I was getting arraigned. It was just like, Your Honor, the suspect did this and that, and it's believed that he's responsible and this and that and the third. So she was just trying to slay me. That it was a woman, it was an older white lady, and she was just trying to slay me in front of the judge before he actually spoke. But they didn't mention that at all.
So no bail. You go to adult prison. What was your first night like in there? And what was that like? And what is that jail like over there? Adult jail, should I say?
Oh, jail. Yeah, it was an experience because I'm used to the juvenile jail. I knew what confinement was, but I had never been. And when you're in the juvenile jail, they try to scare the adult jail out of you before you end up going. So I had this big movie-like type of like imagination to what was the ACI, was what it's called here in Rhode Island. And when I walk in there, I'm about 140 pounds. I'm still teenager weight, you know what I mean? and I'm 18 and I'm just seeing all these grown men and all these diesel guys and older guys and drug addicts and alcoholics and all type of different people. But I just knew to just stick to myself because I had did time enough times in the juvenile that I knew like how to stay out of trouble for the most part and how to start trouble. So I was just banking on the fact that my social skills will keep me away from drama for for that first day and just the learning process at least. But it was definitely a lot of anxiety. And
Did you get to wear your own sneakers in there?
yep, you get to wear your own sneakers. They let you.
Did you have beef like right off the bat? Someone try to test you for your kicks?
Nah, so in this jail, and that doesn't really happen. So I would say it's more of a calmer jail. It's not really as aggressive as other states like New York or like Mass and places like that. You'll still get into it, but it won't be like in the bookends, people's looking at your shoes. Because for the most part, like people are already like with the mindset that, yeah, I need some good time and I need to get into like some programs or I need to get some GED because there's a lot of incentive to go home in the jail that I'm at.
Now,
So
what did they have a murder unit? Was you on a murder unit?
nah, no murder units or nothing like that. It's just the intake service center, which is the basically the transitional building that you first go into, which is the county. It's just spread out and everything is just all bunched on top of each other. You could have somebody there for ticket violation in the same cell as somebody for a double homie. You
That's
know,
crazy.
it's crazy, you know what I mean? Because people have gotten assaulted and things like that by people and they've tried to sue because it's like, yo, how you gonna have me next to a serial killer? I'm here for some tickets.
Fucking
But
crazy.
that's how it is.
That's crazy.
Thank God it's not as like how I thought initially. And mostly like a lot of politicking, but it really has to bubble up enough to where something happens. But for the most part, it isn't like any slashings, any stabbings. There aren't any real rapes there because everybody's in and out. Most people's going home, or most people are about to catch their sentences and go to the sentence buildings. So it wasn't really much violence or anything like that. But I was anticipating that for sure. And on my first day, I thought that that's what it was going to be. Luckily, a lot of people that I had grew up with was in there when I was walking in. So I was actually seeing people while I was walking in and they're like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm going to send you some soap and, you know, stuff like that. So I was alive.
So you had this lawyer right before when you were going to turn yourself in. Now, did you keep this lawyer throughout the journey or did you get rid of him and get somebody else?
Yeah, so the lawyer, I stood about 2 years with the lawyer and it was just a stagnant process of no help because we didn't have all the money that he wanted, but he was accepting our money in intervals. The problem with that was he was treating us accordingly. So we will give him a few dollars at a time, but he'll represent me as if, you know what I'm saying? And it became tough for me because it got to the point where I thought nothing's moving in the case. And I don't want to keep giving up money that isn't even mine because it's my girlfriend at the time and her family. And and he doesn't come to see me. He doesn't answer my phone. And if he does come, he comes with a blank piece of paper and he's drawing arrows and boxes on it. So I told them, yeah, hold off on giving him some money. Let's see what he does if he brings us to court. And then that just became a stagnant match between the two of us until ultimately in about 2017, I had to just put in the file to get rid of him. And I ended up getting a court appointed and I got a different attorney.
Now, what year was that?
That was 2017.
So you're in there for 3 years at this point. Well, 2 years.
Yep, 2 years already.
So now you get a new lawyer 2 years later. You got 2 years in. How's the case moving during this time? Is it moving? Like that's 2 years. You I got 2 years in. You check who's the lawyer you get now?
Definitely dead stopped. There was like very few court dates far and in between. If I did go, I would stay in the cell all day and then chains will come and they'll pick me up. I wouldn't even go up. It was just a lot of nothings. And the times I would go, it would be continuance or we need a continuance. So I ended up meeting this lady named Dawn Huntley. And so Dawn Huntley, she actually is a private attorney. But the private attorneys in this state, they owe the state of Rhode Island a pro bono case at least once a year. So I ended up being the case that she was doing the pro bono for. So she explained that to me. And she let me know that she was going to be handling my case and that she really believed that I was defending myself. Like she gave me like a whole speech when I first met her. And she told me, yo, one of the things I'm going to need is time because I'm starting your KJ 2 years in. She told me my case was this big when she got it. So she just told me and went through it with me. And she told me I'm going to need time. And she asked me what I wanted out of the whole ordeal. And so I told her like, yo, I'm just trying to bounce back in a way that's healthy, meaning I'll be willing to take some time because I know what I did, and I know that we don't have any stand your ground laws here. But I just don't want to get something that doesn't make sense. If I'm able to bounce back and still be young and have a life, I'm with that. I don't really want to go to trial because trial means DOA over here. If you lose trial, it's forever. So I explained that to her right away, and she tells me, okay, I'll work on it. And then that starts the long journey and the long process of just what it is to be arrested and charged with that type of charge. So in Rhode Island, if you're charged with any type of capital offense, your process can be prolonged for as long as either they see fit or as long as you let it go without putting in for a speedy trial. And so ultimately that led me to be in the intake service center for 8.5 years before I was able to take time.
Ooh, so you was in the county basically for 8.5 years.
And then for 8.5 years, and 2023.
What the fuck was that like? And no, let me ask you this. So the county, is it pods? Is it all pods set up? Like, so you're in this place, no movement, no nothing. Just, did they even have free weights or anything? Nothing.
They do have a cafeteria. So you walk down and they have a yard that's separate from the blocks. So you do a lot of walking, and they have the dispensary that you go when you got to get your teeth pulled or whatever. So you do move around, but it's a gloomy place. There aren't any incentives. There aren't any weights. The yard is just cement. There's a basketball hoop, but the COs, it's up to their discretion if you go outside or not. So if they don't want to go outside, you're not going outside. There was times I would spend months at a time without breathing no fresh air, and it was like a grueling like watching paint dry type of process, because you end up in a loop in your mind because all you see is child, rec, and the room every day. And it becomes a thing where you call home to try to keep yourself like aligned with life, but people's lives are moving on. And so they start to move on from you. So the only lifeline that you have to keep you a little normal, it starts getting weak and it starts dwindling away. So now you got to focus on what's in front of you, which is rec time, checkers, spades,
Whist.
just exactly small things that is like, all right, let me put some money on this spade game, and let me, like things of that nature. And you end up confined mentally to that bubble. And it gets tough on you, man, because if misery creeps in, you losing that spade game could make you want to fight. You get what I'm saying? It could. You start to care about things that a normal person in society wouldn't. You start to care if there's water in your sink, if somebody doesn't flush the toilet right, and it starts putting all these mental like blocks.
So let me stop you there. You had a roommate the whole time? They didn't give you a single cell?
So that building, it's all roommates, and you can't really have a single cell. If you get lucky, let's say, for example, I have a cellie and he goes home, and then we don't have any new commits for a day or two, I might have the cell to myself for a little day, 2 days. But as soon as those new commits come in 30s and 40s, they're sending someone right up to.
So how did you handle that when you seen someone come in and he was weeping? Like complaining, like, man, they're about to give me 60 days, man. I can't handle it, man. And here you are, like, yo, what?
So the OGs, I would watch the OGs go crazy about stuff like that. Oh, I got this little young boy in my cell. He's crying about 90 days. But I was always understanding to that. I never made somebody feel less than, because I remember when I first ever got arrested, I only did 45 days and it felt like a year. Right. So I understood the first experiences of confinement in your mind are like extreme. So to somebody like, I would get young boys in my cell, 18 years old. Let's say, for example, I got 3-4 years in. I get a little young boy. He's in there. He got 60 days. He's losing it. He ain't had no secrets. He misses his girlfriend so bad. All he wants to do is talk about his girlfriend. I'm understanding. It's a little annoying, but I was all right with my communication skills, in the sense that I'll tell them like, yo, just chill, bro. It's going to be all right. If you complain, you're going to be more stressed out. And people would hear me out for the most part. You know what I mean? And so I was never like the type to go crazy. Like, damn, I got a big bed and you're over here crying. I wasn't never like that.
Right. You didn't get caught up in the politics. That's dope. So so here you are, you're in there for 8.5 years. What do you think as the years are going by? Like, are you thinking you're going to get life in prison? They still got you at murder 1, right?
Yeah, so that was the fight, man, because my lawyer would tell me things like, yo, um, she would always come and ask me like, yo, what are you feeling like doing? And I would always tell her like, yo, I want to bounce back. And so after after about 2 years, they ended up coming with an offer. And the offer for first degree in Rhode Island is 60 with 40 years to serve. And so once that was my offer, the fight became me telling her like, yo, lower that. Try to lower that as much as you can, because for one, this shouldn't be a first degree. And for two, if it's like that, I might as well go to trial. Because if I take a 40-year sentence, I'll be 78 years old when I come out of here.
Shit.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't have a life left. So I might as well go to trial, is what I'm telling her. So the fight became trying to get that down, but it's a long process of continuances. And at least 4 judges switched off benches in the process of me being in there. So I would have a judge overseeing my case. 3-4 years will pass. It'll be a new judge. It'll be different prosecution. I was incarcerated when it was COVID-19.
So yeah, how that now what? So now 2017, 2 years in, they come at you with a 60-year bid. Then I take it right around 2019, 2020, right? Now you got 4 years in, right? And now COVID hits. That just put everything back on the back burner, right?
Horrible, because we got stuck in there because they made it so that we can't leave the building. They shut down court for us in total. So we couldn't go to court because there were like stay-at-home orders in play. And we couldn't leave. And they didn't want inmates coming in and out the jail and their families suing because they caught corona. In the beginning, people thought if you caught corona, you was gonna die.
Oh yeah.
So like a really extreme thing. And there were a lot of stay and play orders and stuff like that, stay put orders. So we didn't have court. The people who were down for capital offenses, we weren't able to go to court again until about 2021, late 2021, almost 2022. So almost 2 years of no court, and a lot of papers and motions and things, they got lost in the transit.
So when'd you get to discovery? When'd you get your hands on that? Averill just asked that question.
That's a discovery. It was about almost like 8 or 9 months of having Miss Dawn as an attorney. And she ended up letting me know what was camera footage, what they had as evidence, and what were the statements given against me. And so
what was the statements given against you?
So the initial person that snatched my chain off my neck was giving statements and going to court and things of that nature. And his thing was basically that they were going to call the cops on me. And so I went crazy. And that's why I started doing what I did. Also, the camera footage, it showed the fender bender, but it didn't show the incident that happened in the back of the Walgreens. What it showed was feet. So the footage showed at the top of the screen, the top right corner, the top left corner of the screen, it showed a bunch of shoes running around, but you couldn't see what happened. I didn't know this at the time. Had I would have known that, I could have maybe even denied that anything happened and maybe try to get bail and fight it that way. But like I said, we were able to find out that one of my necklaces was in the truck of the victim. And so with all this evidence, I wasn't able to get bail or nothing like that. And so that's why it was such a grueling process, because I was starting to feel hopeless at certain points in time, because I'm like, in my mind, I thought you had to have some sort of premeditation proof or some sort of malicious proof that I crossed paths with these people at some point in time or something for you to charge me with that and offer that time to me. That's making me wait all these years. And the fact that I couldn't get it amended down and we were putting in motions and things were staying put, and then COVID and everything, it was really messing with my mind. And it was difficult, man. And when COVID came and went, my lawyer got sick. She didn't have, but she was physically, she was sick, not to say what she had. And she came and told me like, yo, I'm gonna need time because I don't know if I'm gonna be better. So I had to deal with the assistant, which was still a good person, and she helped me a lot, but all she could really do was bring me to court when we had it. And so that was a process of uncertainty that I had to go through. Like, damn, this is the person that's been with me the whole time. And if I lose her, Now I gotta go way to day one and start with a PD, and then who? You understand? By this time, I got 7 years in the county, not knowing, and it was all these years of uncertainty that I was dealing with, and then that happened on top of it. So it was really tough. And the offer, it's like they wouldn't really budge the offer, and we couldn't even get it to like motions to try to fight the offer down because things kept getting continued, and prosecutors were acting like they didn't have this and that. And
so what was your statement, and what was your witnesses saying? Like the girl that you were with at the time, what was she saying? What was her statement?
So the girl that I was with has a bunch of family. She has the mom, the dad, she has older sisters, and they don't have money, but they're like middle class. So they didn't allow her to be questioned alone like how I was. The mom and the dad was there, and the older sister. They ended up getting her an attorney. So her statements were, yo, he was attacked, and I got out of the car to try to help him. And I didn't see what happened behind me because I was fighting the dude that took his chain. That was her statement.
Did she get hit?
She didn't get hit. Thank God. But what they were saying was, oh, you're just trying to protect him because you're his girlfriend. So that didn't really vindicate as agreeing with my story. They were just saying, just trying to protect him because he's your boyfriend. And so it was a thing where she
But there's
ended up,
proof that the chain is in the truck.
Chain is in the truck. And they still not going for that I was robbed or anything like that. And the girl, she ended up going to court separately without my knowledge. She ended up going because we weren't co-defendants. She was still a minor, and they didn't make us co-defendants. Like every time I had court, she had court. They would just call her into court on different motions or whatever. And she ended up retracting her statement. And she ended up saying that she was just young and she was trying to protect me. And so that little bit of hope that I was leaning on through what she was saying went away because she just wanted to disassociate herself with the whole, because the dude has a lot of support because of his tours. And so when she goes out, like to school, for instance, she's getting all this hate for being a supporter of me. And it ended up making her life harder. And so the family, because I was the reason that her life was this, I ruined the end of her high school experience. And so I know that she felt best to just disassociate herself best way that she could, and she did that by basically retracting her statement. So she ended up off.
Did now what happened with the chain? Did the guy finally admit that he took the chain? Like, did that ever get into evidence or get spoke on, or did they just not even talk about it?
So in one hearing, the dude showed up to testify against me, and he admitted to robbing me in open court.
Oh.
And my lawyer was trying to press the issue, like, yo, Your Honor, I want him brought on charges. He admitted to robbing my client, and they wouldn't charge.
What did he say exactly?
So he said that I thought I was gonna get away with hitting his vehicle and not paying. So he was gonna take something to compensate. This was said in open. When he said this statement, he stood up in the witness stand. He didn't sit. He was doing that standing up. So
what was your reaction?
I wasn't in court for that. My lawyer would let me stay back. She would go to court, and then she would come back and tell me what happened. And so she tells me that, and she tells me, yo, we got an uphill battle. They're not even trying to charge him with the robbery that he admitted to in open court. He goes to court with a big tattoo of the victim's face on his arm saying rest in peace. And it's just not on my side because I look like a gangbanger. They know I have gang member ties in the city. They know that the music that I was making at the time was that of street culture life. And then you have this valid citizen that fought for our country. And it seems like they was the victims in a situation that escalated because of me. And so that alone was keeping me underneath the foot of what was being prosecuted against me. And I didn't have no money like that to press the issue and hire investigators and hire all these people. All I had was Miss Dawn helping me, and she started late. And so it was just tough.
She comes back into the fold, right? She gets sick, but she comes back.
Thank God in 2023, she ended up overcoming that ailment that she had. and she was able to continue to represent me. And she came back and told me, yo, now that I'm better, I just got it in me that I think we should just go, because it's already too many years in, and it's to the point.
At this point, how many years do you got in?
I got 8 years, 8.5 years. This was right towards the end. So she ends up telling me we got to go to trial because they're going to keep trying to do what they can. Because I never wanted to go for speedy trial because I didn't feel like I was in the, like, because of everything that was around me, like the charge, the statements, and everything, the evidence that wasn't even being considered. I felt like with even that into play and me not being vindicated and what, I felt like there wasn't a lot of hope for me. So I didn't feel confident. So
yeah, you thought you were going to get railroaded.
Exactly. I didn't want to go for speedy trial, and that was their thing. Their thing.
You didn't know what to do. You didn't know what to do.
Yeah, their thing was like, oh well, he don't want to go to trial because he's not putting in for a speedy trial, so we're not.
And that's how they do it out there. Like, so you don't put in for a speedy trial, and they don't put a hay bale for you and push it.
So the only way that they'll push it is if they know they got you dead to rights. Like if it won't be much of a fight and they could whack you with that life, you'll be in court 2 years to a year, and you'll be off in max.
So there's no statute like in Massachusetts. There's like a statute. I think at one time in Mass, if I'm not mistaken, it was like they got 2 years to try you with a superior court case, like a capital case, like you're talking about. And after that, you could start, putting motions in like, hey, you need to dismiss this, right? There's no statute like that at all. I mean, you would think 8 years. That's crazy.
I have close to that is the indictment stat, which is basically like they have 6 months to indict you, and if not, on 6 months in a day, they have to release you on bail.
Okay.
I got it on 5 months. They didn't even let it get close with me. And then after that, there was a dude named Charlie Brown. He's from Rhode Island. He did 10 years before he was able to he did
in
10
this place.
Yeah, before he was able to be his case and go home. And so knowing that, what I knew.
Let me ask you one question. This jail, is it in the heart of the city? Like, is it right there on the block?
Nah, it's more towards like the suburban part of the city. It's in a part of the city called Cranston. So
it's Cranston.
Yeah, it's more middle class. It's more suburban. It's a nicer area, and there's the DMV and a lot of nice businesses over there, Top Golf.
So what? So what happens when you drive by this fucking place? Like, what does that do to your mind?
So surprisingly, I don't get any anxiety or nothing like. And I've actually been back in the building because when I got out, I didn't have a social security. I didn't have an ID. I didn't have nothing. So in order to get a social security, you need medical records. And those was the only medical records I had for the past decade. So I had to go there and walk in the building. And I actually saw a few COs that I was bidding with. And that was kind of like should I go crazy and say something now that I'm free? It was just like one of those moments, but I ultimately didn't. And I just feel like me being free is a victory within itself. So I don't.
So what happens? How'd this deal come down? How'd they end up dropping it for murder? What did they end up initially dropping it that got you out on these streets to where you're at now? And how long you been out for?
I've been out for about 1.5 years.
That's it?
Yeah, I got out December 3rd, 2024. So I had like a few weeks left of that year, and then it was New Year's. So yeah, I've been out about 1.5 years. And when my lawyer finished her notebooks for trial, she told me like, yo, I want to go to trial, right? And I was still kind of iffy about it because I didn't really want to take the risk. So she was like, all right, we're gonna go. And even though I wasn't so sure, I was ready. And in the process of us suiting up for trial, they had this change of heart. And I ended up getting visited by the lawyer and the assistant. And they come and they're looking at me, and it's a random visit because I barely see them together. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? And she's like, yo, we got something to tell you. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, there's been a change. And so I'm like, what you mean change? They're like, yo, the offer changed. And I'm like, yo, what's the offer? And she's like, 23. And I'm like, what? That's a significant change. So I'm like, what happened? Like, what's the change? Like, and she's like, I don't really know what's this change of heart that they have, except for it could be that now that we're really going to go to trial, it could be that they really didn't want to go to trial, but they were using there's no statute thing to hold you. And what they did was they put a high number think I didn't have much wiggle room to do anything else except maybe take the thing, because in Rhode Island, everybody knows a number is better than a letter. So a lot of people will take a 40 because at the end date, even though you'll be old as dust, there's guaranteed freedom after 40 years. After life, you're going to die there.
Right.
So a lot of people sign that 60 with 40 because they'll tell themselves maybe I can get parole, or maybe I can knock it down to 30.
It's better than that life connected to it.
Exactly. So Rhode Island, they're aware of that because of how many people sign that bid. So with me, what they did was they put it high and made me feel like I didn't have wiggle room. They left me with a first-degree murder charge and wouldn't change it to make me believe that that's what they were sticking with and there was nothing I could do. They didn't believe my self-defense, no matter if I had evidence or not, no matter if they didn't have any malice or forethought. So in Rhode Island, they say in law library books that premeditation can occur within 10 seconds of a crime, which is crazy because that's really a crime. And that's supposed to be second-degree murder.
Right.
Into the books.
Well, not only that is there's video of you guys getting in the fender bender where it actually happens, and then you drive away, and now they're in a different position, which means is they tracked you down. They went after you.
They went after you.
And so when my lawyer was going forth before them and asking for the trial and things of that nature, these are the things that were presented. So in Rhode Island, we don't have stand your ground law, but we have fight or flight. Meaning, if I pull a gun out on you and there's a wall behind you, you can kill me. But if I pull a gun out on you and you're in the middle of the street, you have to try to run first. And then you can kill me if I chase you.
Right.
So in that case, I ran first because I went from A to B. And
right.
they ended up at B after me. Right. So all that I had in my favor that wasn't being considered were now a threat to them when we were going to go to trial, because Miss Dawn and Missy tell me that, yo, when we have the conference, we present the laptop to the new lawyer, which was a female. I mean, not lawyer, to the new judge. That was a female judge that had came on the bench that year. And the thing was like, yo, Your Honor, we can go to trial with this footage right here. And there's no audio, but just in the body language that I had, I'm doing stuff like this and I'm going like that before we get to the back. And so if you
so there's a video of you doing that?
There's video when I get out the car. The initial fender bender, I get out the car and I look at their vehicle to see if there's damage, and there isn't any. And then I get back in the car. But when I look, they're saying, yo, I'm cool, yo. And I'm like, yo, I don't want no problems. I'm just trying to get my boys and get out of here.
Your boys are acting up. You got the booze. You got the bottle. We got to get the fuck out of here. No one got a license. We got to get out of here.
There's no audio on it. But if you had to guess and you had to put audio on a video of somebody doing like this,
right?
This, you can kind of put two and two together, plus with everything. So with that judge that was there on the bench, my lawyer basically just hit the pressure button, and she had told them like, yo, I can bring him in with this, present that crazy statement that the witness that's coming to court is giving, present the chain, and you guys can lose if it comes down to it. Talking to the prosecutor and the state. And so then they asked her, so what does he want? So initially I had asked my lawyer, I said, yo, best case scenario, I'll take a 10. Worst case scenario, I'll take a 20. I'll be happy within those guidelines, because even if I take a 20, I come out maybe 40, 30.
You would take accountability of this. Like, you know, you took a man's life.
Exactly. And that was the whole thing. I didn't want to go in there like I didn't do it. It wasn't me, because that's a whole different set of defense that you have to have. And then it's too much speculation and it becomes a guessing game. And I know if I was on a jury and you left me to guess, just what I think happened is what I'm going to say happened, because I don't really know either. So if a prosecutor persuades me enough, I'm going to be like, yeah, he's guilty. And I wasn't willing to let somebody else do that to me. You know what I'm saying? But
let me ask you this, right? And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, right? So when this fight's happening in Colby, the one who got stabbed and died, R.I.P. Colby, by the way, right? Was he very aggressive? Was he getting the best of you? Like, what was that like? What do you see him like in that moment? What did you see him like?
In that moment, I used to know how to fight for sure, but it was only so much I could do with somebody who was double my body mass. And usually somebody double your body mass is slow. He's not slow. He's hitting me with flurries to the point where I'm sidestepping and he's right there with me. I'm sidestepping, he's right there with me. I can't swerve out the way. I'm backpedaling, he's still on top of me.
He's talking.
I come outside with the knife because...
Did you tell him to stop?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was telling him to back up because I knew I had a knife on me and he would lose that situation and he wasn't listening. And so I come outside at the time with a knife because I know, all right, you come outside with a gun, that's almost 90% going all the way. But if you come outside with a knife, people looking at the knife will back off you. And if you do end up having to stab them, they're more than likely going to survive. This is how I'm thinking at the time. It doesn't mean guaranteed murder.
This is what you think. This is what you're thinking at the time. Disclaimer. This is what he's thinking at the time, ladies and gentlemen. Trust and believe. Go ahead, brother.
So I keep the knife in my back pocket just in case anybody tries to bother me. So when he's doing this and I'm doing everything I can to maneuver and I'm backing up and I'm trying to backpedal and he's right on top of me, I just couldn't get him off me with just backing up and moving out the way. So that's why I use my weapon.
Okay. So let's jump off that, right? So now they offer you a deal 23 years. She's saying, hey, now you're not even taking that. Now the ball's kind of in your court. You kind of know that, you got the upper hand, you always did. You got the timing at this point. What are we doing? I need something better than that. What did they come to you with now?
My lawyer, she just tells me that because she legally has to tell me what's going on. But she's coming at me with I don't even want you to even consider this, because the fact that they're even bargaining now means that it's in our court, like how you just said.
Right.
So she's telling me like, yo, I want to go all the way. What you think? And I'm
Man.
I don't want to go all the way because what I wanted is happening. What I want you to do is go in there and get me my 10, because I know I got 8.5 years and I ain't tripping off 1.5 years to 2 years. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to talk them down one more time. But if they say anything I don't like, I want you to know that I want to go. And so that's how it went. She went back in there and she told them 10. They were trying to tell her 15. And ultimately they agreed on 13. And so when she came back and presented the 13, she was like, yo, they're talking 25 with 13 to serve. And if you sign this, it will be dropped down from a 1 to a manslaughter, which means your case is not a capital anymore. And when you have a capital in Rhode Island, you're not allowed any good time. But when you have a different, something other than a capital, what we have is 10 days a month plus
Automatically they hit you with the 10?
If you stay out of trouble.
You stayed out of trouble that whole 8 years. You didn't get no D reports?
Whole time. I didn't get any tickets. I didn't go to the box. So
really? That's
yeah,
awesome, dude.
That's good.
Like a little porter job. So in total, she told me, yo, go get a data sheet and check out how much good time you have before we start trying to sign anything. So I went to the counselor's office. She gave me a data sheet. And I had about 1,300 days of good time and 250 days of working time because I was a porter.
That's like 2.5 years.
That was about 3.5 years, almost 4.
3.5. Wow.
I had like 1,500 and change days in total of good time. So she was like, yo, if you sign with this 8.5 plus this 3.5 that you have, you got 12. You do another year in medium, you come home. I was more than happy to do that. She's like, yo, but I want you to know I still want to go if you're willing to. And I was like, nah, hell no, I'm not willing to. This is guaranteed freedom. And so we went up, we signed, they gave me the charge. I ended up pleading no contest to it. And I was able to call my family and tell them like, yo, finally, and it was something that I was a little nervous about because the victim's family, they have to agree to certain sentences that are given out. It's almost like permission they have to give in order. If they say no, you won't get the time. And so that was the last thing I was waiting on before I initially signed. And then she came back and told me like, yo, they agreed.
They agreed.
The only thing that I was able to think in that moment was like, yo, the prosecutors must have warned them like, yo, if he doesn't take this, he might be able to go all the way and we might not get nothing out of him. Because why would a mom agree? You understand? Like,
true.
Lawyer, we all discussed it and she read her impact when I was in court and she tore me down, obviously.
Who, the mother?
Yeah, for sure. She definitely said her piece, which I understand, because somebody lost their life. I'm sorry somebody lost their life. If it was up to me,
What can you say to her? What would you say to Colby's mother right now if you had choice words?
If I could talk to her, I would tell her the same tears that she cried, my mother cried for me. And the same way she lost the son, my mother lost her son almost forever. Not in the same sense, because you can still see and talk to a person, but you become a half a human when you're in jail, and you can only be a voice or a face on a screen. And so two people lose in those type of situations, and two people's moms cry tears. So what I would tell her is that I'm sorry that that happened to her. I'm sorry that she has to suffer that, right? But at the end of the day, I didn't want problems. I did my best to elude the situation, and if it was up to me, it would have went my way, and she would still have her son. You understand? And the fact that he served this country, it sucks, you know. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean people can't do wrong, because that was the main thing that they was leaning on. He served his country. Okay, respect for that. Shout out to him. But at the end of the day, that should have gave him a certain level of discipline. I feel. I don't know, but what I do know is that I don't want nobody to feel that type of pain. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was reverse and my mom had to cry those tears, I would be. You know what I'm saying? It's devastating. So
Right.
if I could talk to his mother, I would never talk to her. But who knows if she could ever see? I'm sorry that happened, and obviously I can't restart life and make things go differently. But if it was up to me, my mission would have been completed by me going home, and that's it.
Fair to say. Fair to say. Well said. So
How much
you
time
get
did
out.
you actually do?
There we go. Sorry, JP.
I ended up doing I did 1 year exactly after that 12 and a half with the good time in total, so I did 13.
13 years. So do you got
Oh,
any probation
not 13. I did 9.5, but the good
with the
time.
good time?
Yeah, I did 9 years, 7 months. So
So you did 9 years, you did a decade basically, right? In a nutshell. And so are you on probation or anything right now?
I got 9 years left. They let me out with 11 years because it'll start running after your sentence. So I had 12 years left because 13 from 25. I did a year. It turned to 11. I've been out for a year and a half, almost 2. So it's at 9, almost 8 right now.
So now you hit the streets. You're back on the streets. When you went in, you were a gangbanger, right? Were you a gangbanger? Is that
Yeah.
fair to say or no? You was? All right. So I don't know that for a fact. Okay, cool. So you were involved in the streets. We'll just put it that way. And you were 18 years old. It's like you're suspended in time. You get out at 28 and you still feel like you're 18, I assume, right?
Yeah, so I worked really hard to keep my sanity. I worked really hard to try to mature as my age progressed, because that was an insecurity of mine. And I thought that I was gonna be immature around adults. Like if I
Right.
ever come home, because of where I got frozen in time. So I really would work on my communication skills and not being too goofy and things like that. And I would try to understand as much as I could about the outside world. But experience, you can't learn it unless you live it, you know? So when I came home, I was immature in certain areas. I noticed a lot of people were a lot more deflated than me. And I was just happy again to be out. And people around me were kind of like, damn, this kid's really bubbly. You know what I mean? And I would feel it. But the only thing that made me feel young was like I was really green to everything, like driving. I didn't have any paperwork. I never used a bank card. I didn't know how to go about anything. I kept having to ask questions, and it was a little uncomfortable because I kept having to ask, yo, how do I use this bank card, or how do I apply for this job, or things like that. And good, thank God I had gracious people around me that never made me feel like agitated at those type of questions or nothing like that, and they was really helpful along the way. But even still, like when you're living in a room and you're driving a car from 2005 and you're working and you're making like $16 an hour, you still feel 18 years old. When everybody around you is 28, making $30, $35 an hour, driving up to dates, and they buy homes and they got kids, and you're driving a Camry and you're living in a room and you make 16 bucks, you feel young still around a bunch of adults. So it was something I had to just get myself how you say, I just had to accept, like, you know what, my time is different than other people's time, And it wasn't easy. It took like months until I started saying, you know what, it is what it is. I'll catch up one day. But that's what process was.
Jahehe says, what was his support system like?
So the support was really, really he was really scattered, I would say. Like the girlfriend that I had, I lost her with time. The friends that I did have, which I consider brothers, it began to become something that was like out of sight, out of mind. So they were dwindling away. It'll be like one or two out of like 50, 60 that were really there consistently. And I didn't have a lot of family because my family, they're from New York City. My mom is the only one who migrated to Rhode Island to get away from New York City. So I was always at odds as far as having relationships with my family. And my dad is deported. I didn't have my mom 100% either. So when I went in, my only support was my friends and my girlfriend at the time. I lost my girlfriend. My friends moved on with life. And it was like me and like 3 people. And what ended up being a blessing was, as the time went on, my older brother started considering me. I have an older brother from my dad's side, and he started reaching out to me with letters. And then we built a relationship. And I also have an older sister that's from New York City as well. And she did her best to be there for me. And we built a relationship that we never had before the fact through that trauma. And so it was about 4 or 5 of us, man, throughout the whole thing. And they were right there when I came out. They were at the door and they bought me clothes, and you know what I'm saying? They gave me a couple dollars, and they was taking me to like Applebee's and stuff like that. Just it was
Getting you back on track.
it wasn't big, but it was a genuine circle that I appreciate, and we all still talk to this day.
That's awesome, man.
That was.
So
I had a question I wanted to ask because I heard you say you were a Christian in the beginning. Did you turn to God in jail, or were you about God before jail?
I always knew who God was because the little bit that my mom did have me, she would make sure that I would go to church with her. So it was just an awareness that I have, but I really didn't want nothing to do with it because I felt forced. Like I was forced to go to church. So as soon as I got on my own, it was like I was the furthest thing from it, but I still was conscious of who God was, and I would still pray, and I would try to pray my way out of all types of situations, and then I would just manipulate. When I was good, I would just go back to doing what I was doing, and then when the big mountain fell on me of that situation, I learned like, all right, this is gonna take a different level of relationship with God. I'm not gonna be able to manipulate my way out of this one. And so I told myself, like, even if I don't get nothing out of it that's in my favor, I'm gonna turn to God just to try to gain a different like level of consciousness, because the one that I had got me here. Yes, it was out of my control. Yes, it was a situation where I was defending myself, but maybe if I thought differently, I wouldn't be out partying all night. I wouldn't even need to go to a club to party. I would be good with, so I just felt like my set of thoughts and emotions and the lifestyle that I carried, it just put me in position to get in trouble. And that was enough for me to say, yo, I need to change. And so I just leaned on the Christian faith, and my sisters and my brothers and the ones that started to be there were heavily involved out here in the world. And so they were guiding me from the outside in, telling me, yo, talk to God, ask God to help you, to protect you, learn scriptures, change your processes of thought so that way you don't crash out in there and become like that environment. And then that's what I mean by I worked hard to keep my sanity. I would just do a lot of things that the Bible says to do in order for your mind not to be corrupted. And it helped me from becoming bitter and angry and all that.
So you were 18 years old when this happened, right? And we talk about the juvenile mind, science, right? Like they say that the mind is not fully developed until 24. Do you agree with that?
100%, because the way that you process consequence and the value of risk and reward is different when you're 24 years old to when you're 18 years old, right? Because validation comes into play when you're risking, and it outweighs reward, right? Because the reward might not be a lot. The reward
Right.
might become we become closer friends, right? But the validation tells me to overlook that risk of jail or death, because at the end of the day, it's a just cause and it's noble. And if 2 or 3 agree on a thought, when you're that age, when you're an adolescent, you look at that as validation. Or it must be right what I'm doing, because he's doing it, and he's doing it, and we're a collective, right? So it's our group of people against that group of people, which is considered good people. We're just the bad ones. And if we do the right thing and maneuver well enough, we might make it and be rich and famous and be able to tell the story after the fact. This is your process of risk and reward when you're 18 years old. But
Right.
when you're mature, you start thinking like, wait a second, the validation that I cared so much about is really an empty validation. And their validation is the same amount as confused as mine, because we're at the same place mentally. So we're all messed up, really. And I'm searching for people's validation that aren't even 100%. But you don't realize that until you learn more through experience, and you look at an 18-year-old when you're 24 years old and you hear him talk and you say, oh yeah, this kid is lost, you know? And you look at him like a baby. And when he says stuff like, I don't care, I'll die, it ain't nothing, you start thinking like, wait, what? And so then you realize like, oh, their process of elimination is different than ours when we're older. And so they kind of put a law into play here called Murphy's Law. That means you can't get life without parole anymore if you
Right.
can't the age of 21, right?
So 21 and under, they got to give you a parole. What, after 15 years? Is that what it is?
They don't have to give it to you, but you have to
Well,
be.
yeah, you'll
You have
see
to
it.
offer it.
You have
But
to
you
be,
still got that L attached back to that having that letter attached.
the life is 25 years, so you still have to be able to go up to parole at 1/3 to half of your sentence, and then it's really to their discretion whether you get it or not. You know,
Right. Yeah.
mind is definitely different, and it definitely develops differently.
Do you feel that an 18-year-old should 1000% get parole? Do you feel that they should get life without parole? You think that's cool, or you think they should at some point get to see parole and show that they could be rehabilitated?
100%, because you can't really match crime. So like if I steal out of a corner store and somebody goes and kills somebody, that's not the same thing, right? But the is crime, right? So we all are capable of committing crime. I could be a good person up until I'm 99 years old and do good things, right? And then I could kill my wife. Does any of the good matter after I kill my wife?
The negative kills the positive. You're a killer now. I say that all the time.
Now I'm considered a bad person. Now let's switch it. I could be a bad person my whole life and see you drowning and save you. Now am I a good person? Because what does that bad have to do with me saving another life? So I say that because an 18-year-old whose mind isn't developed is making decisions of an adolescent. Yes, they're grave decisions that change and alter people's life. But at the end of the day, we're all capable of making that decision, just in different ways, shapes, or form. We crash cars all the time and kill people by accident. We get into fights and push people. They hit their heads on corners. We never intended to do that to them. You know what I'm saying? A lot can happen. We spend, we steal, we do things, we scam that aren't the same. But the thing is, we look at certain crimes as worse than others, and we shouldn't, because it's all crime at the end of the day. So if you say, okay, this person is not able to be rehabilitated, so we're not even going to give them the chance, you're wrong. You have to give them the chance. Now, what messes it up, people get the parole and go kill again. And then they say, damn, you see, now no more. And so it messes it up for everybody else. But I just think that it's just like the set of justices should be carried out, because you can't blame me for what somebody else does. Yes, they reoffended, but anybody can reoffend. But the same way he could reoffend, I could change my life. You're not even giving me, it's like, you're not even giving me the chance. You know what I'm saying? When you don't give me or allow me to even see parole, especially when I was 18 years old, a few hours before I was 17. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just developing as a full.
So if you would have been, if that would have happened when you were 17, now what's the process in the juvenile? Is there like a transfer hearing, like a bind over hearing to see if you get tried as an adult? That whole thing. How does that work out in Rhode Island?
Oh no, they don't give you a chance. If 16, you can even be 15. So we were I remember there was a case years back. There was a triple homicide. It was a home invasion homicide. And they were 15, 16, and I believe one was 18. So what they'll do is they'll hold you, because of the severity. It was a triple homicide and a robbery. They'll hold you in the training school in the juvenile facility until you're 17. and then they'll waive you to the adult facility, and they'll put you in PC because you're a minor. You can't be in population.
Wow.
They'll put you in PC until you're 18. Then they'll put you in population.
Now, what does that do when they go upstate in the prison if they were PC? They got that jacket on them.
Well, people know the difference because PCs wear different colors. So PCs for telling and for being rapists and stuff like that, they wear green.
Okay.
PCs for juvenile, they wear a different color. I believe they wear baby blue or tan.
So it's like an administrative thing.
Yeah. Everybody knows when they're PC because they're juvenile.
That's a crazy fucking concept out there in Rhode Island. That is horrible. Yeah. So you're putting these guys in PC, but are they with the PCs though?
There's a building. It's called high security, and that's where PC has always been. And it's different mods in there. So they move separately than the PCs that are there for like telling and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what about the skin beefs?
They're definitely separated from them.
Okay.
They're in their own unit. And as far as the process of the Fourth Amendment process of due process, there is
right.
Catch a murder, 15. They're gonna try you as an adult no matter what.
No bind over here and no nothing, no like evaluations, none of that. Like to see, like, if the kid's someone like you that after talking to you, they would say, hey, this guy, because look, you did 8 years inside adult county jail and you didn't get one ticket, and I'm sure. How'd you do in the training school? Did you fuck up in there, or did you do good in there too?
Nah, it was 10 times harder in the training school than it was in the adult facility.
Wow.
Because you got to think about it. Young kids will crash out. There's not a real box in the training school. There's no pepper spray in the training school, and nobody in there is doing more than 3 years.
So what was the staff like? Did the staff snap on you in there? Did they because obviously we know when you're inside jail, it's the SRTs, the IPs or whatever, they come in and they usually got the cameras on and shit like that. But inside the training school, DYS, you're a resident and it's just normal dudes who look like me, right? So they snatch you up.
They wear regular clothes with the training school logo on them, and they'll slam you on your head,
fuck you up, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they're really trying to rough you up. You know what I mean? And a lot of kids in there, they're in their adolescent delinquency. So they're fighting and they're gangbanging. So there's no pepper spray because there's minors. So they're going to slam you on your head. Yeah, they're going to put your arm way up to the back of your neck and cuff you up. And they're going to hog tie you I got hog tied before. They cuffed my feet and they cuffed my wrists. And they lifted me up in the air and they threw me in the room and they took my mattress. But it's different. It's a lot more wild.
So how do you go from that? Like, so you was in the training school going through that. How do you go from that and then turn it off to go back to school? Because once you got that turned on, you got that shit turned on your light. That illuminated your vision, the dark side. And now they're like, hey, go to school. And how do you turn that off? Can you ever turn it off?
So the school is in there, like it's all together. Like you don't leave. The school is in the facility, and you walk everywhere with your hands behind your back. And when it's time for class, they line you up and stuff. But you're always on a swivel in the training school because a lot happens in class too. And the main thing that happens is people sneak everybody. Like nobody will hit you in front of you. Everybody hits you from behind because it's just easier and ain't no moral code. You know what I mean? Because if you jump me, that's not fair, but people get jumped, so other people sneak. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's constant, and I had a lot of anxiety in the training school because I would have to fight. I would try to keep to myself best that I could, but there would come somebody who says something illegal, like the B word, or invite you to suck their piece or something like that, and you gotta go because if you don't go in the training school, you care a lot more. If you don't go, somebody else is going to try you. You know what I'm saying? And then if you become that person that gets tried, it's hard to play basketball. It's hard to play cards. It's hard to wreck because people don't like you because you're considered soft. You know what I mean? So in the training school, it was tough. In the adult correction, people don't want to fight. It's
people are trying to sit back and do their time.
It's people that are already in max that have nothing to lose. They're already doing lives. They're stabbing. They're wilding. They're acting crazy. Even some people in medium, you know what I'm saying? They're in high security. Those guys, they're already sealed. They don't care.
But let me land the question. What a little bit better. What I was saying was, All that shit happened to you in the training school. And then you get released from the training school and you're on the streets and they're telling you to go to school.
Oh,
how do you turn that off? Like you got turned on to the dark side. How do you become a regular kid? Can you turn it off knowing that you seen the dark side? Did that do something to you mentally?
I would say that I had a good foundation of holding myself down as far as the streets, because while I was in and out of the training school, I was participating in street culture. So yeah, I was young, but I wasn't innocent. You understand what I'm saying? Like I was still fighting with other groups of people that had problems with what I consider my friends. And we were considered a gang because two is company, three is a crowd, you know, and we just had a name. And so when it's us against them, that's gang culture. And we're fighting and we're trying to hit each other with bats or whatever. And sometimes we're even shooting when it gets to it. You know what I'm saying? We're getting older, the weapons are evolving, and now we're shooting at each other and stuff like that. And now school is completely out of the equation. By 16, I was done with public school because the little bit of time I was free, I wasn't going. And then the time that I was locked up, I was going to school in there. When I would get released, they'll put me in a group home and I'll just run away from the group home. So school kind of ended for me like around 16, 17-ish. What saved me was the training school because they force you to go in there. So I still
do you still have bonds with the dudes from the training school?
I would say not bonds. I mean, it's pretty small out here. So on social media, you see people that you was locked up with. And now that I'm telling my story and I'm going on different platforms, a lot of people are like, "Oh wow, Montalvo," because they call you by your last name in there. I remember when some people I speak to still that we was locked up together as kids and stuff. The staff and the COs, the JPWs, I see a lot of them on social media now that I'm home and stuff like that. A lot of them still work there, and there were a lot of good ones. You know what I'm saying? There was bad ones, but most of them was good, even the ones that would beat you up. So if I see them, I give them love. You know what I'm saying? And I give them a handshake and stuff like that.
So check this out. You're out here. You're doing your music thing. I got one of your songs here, man. It's called Gloria. Can you hear this real quick? You hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You hear that? No? Okay, because sometimes the audio don't come in on this. So you got a song called Gloria, right? Am I right about that?
Gloria.
Is that your mother's name?
So Gloria means glory in Spanish. You just roll the R and you say Gloria.
Okay, here we go.
So at the end of the song, my mother speaks, and she's just manifesting with her words, and she's saying like, "Yo, in Jesus' name, you're gonna make it somewhere one day." And then she says glory, but she just says it in Spanish. So the last word on the song is her saying glory, but it says Gloria. So I named the song Gloria.
And you got a Bandcamp or anything like that? Because these people, these long games will come through and buy your project or on streaming sites. I just put your Instagram up, ladies and gentlemen. It's pinned on the top of the chat. His IG. You know, he's a good dude. You can inbox him if you want to get his music, and he can send you a link there, maybe. You know, and if you don't have a Bandcamp, someone that does music himself, you should get one because it's better. Just it's better than the streaming sites when it comes to dealing with people. You know what I mean?
As far as the streaming sites, I have a few singles on Apple Music and Spotify at Rico Still Made It, but I also have a website, and it's called still.org, stillmadeitout.org, and I have a full project that I just dropped on there a few days ago. It's called What They Know About Me, and that's every song that I wrote while I was incarcerated throughout the years. Almost everyone, the ones that I picked out of like the 1,000, and there's 11 songs on there, and you can kind of hear the difference in tones depending on what year it was when I wrote it. So some songs, they have a lot of auto-tune because in 2016, auto-tune was in style. I wrote in that style. That's how old the song is. And then you got other songs that are bars, and that's because in 2020, it was more rapping. So you can see the difference in times throughout the album, and you can download it for free, or you can buy it for whatever price you choose. It's available to whatever you want to do.
What's the name of that website again? So one of my mods can put that up. What's the name of it?
Stillmadeitout.org.
Stillmadeitout.org. One of my mods, Make It Changes, What the Duck, Natalie, whoever's up in here right now, can you please throw that up in the chat so they could go there and get that project? The name of this song is called Gloria. Let's listen to it.
so easy to sneeze. Pressing it one time, the drumline, that's too easy to me. Popping out crunch time, only have good days sometimes. I went to chow time, wasn't no lunch line. Gotta walk sideways, walking that lunch line. They say I'm broke still. Okay, I'm broke still. What was the punchline? Dropping all verses, I'm bodying verses and verses. I'm bodying, put them in hearses. Praying to God to protect me from curses. I meant to call you, but I ain't had service. I'm trying to make it, so I gotta cut you, I'm merging. I gotta cut you, I'm surging. Some of my brothers, they did them like laundry detergent. I gotta put on for certain. You know I'm tired of fake love, giving up fake love. Only gonna make them look thirsty. I had to learn to forgive, cause if not, I'd be trying to repay all the people that hurt me. I just be keeping it positive. Really, the life that I lived should've made me the worst me. Made me a junior, I'm not like the first me. Made me a shooter, they not about to earth me. Lord, if you hear me, then turn me to everything they say I won't be. I know that's how he be calling to see if I finally made it, but trust me, we gon' see. Mostly I said that for me, it was over. I know that I say it a lot, but I made it from where I was at to the places I'm going. Want me to clap, then okay, I'm reloaded. Calling me back, but I can't, I'm recorded. Word of my soul, I remember the word of my soul. Used to say it when I was in F-Mod. Felt like I didn't have nowhere to go. Almost went for the 40, I thought it was less time. Almost went for the 40, almost went for the... Now that I'm here, I'm stepping. I gotta show them that I was the one that was chosen. That's why they don't never forget it. Rico, I'm Rico. I put on for all of my people, no matter how much they gon' hate it. Mama, she told me don't never let up. Keep your foot on the brake till it ain't no more breaking. Till it ain't no more. That's why it's easy to me. Pressing it one time, put it the drum line. That's too easy to me. Popping out crunch time, only have good days sometimes. I went to chow time, wasn't no lunch time. Gotta walk sideways, walking that lunch line. They say I'm, okay,
You're a good rapper, Papi. You have a lot of talent. Cause you're gonna make it far, Gawito. You're gonna be a big, you're gonna be in the artistic world with the stars. I'm gonna see you and winning an Oscar. I know that. Watch and see. Watch and see that I'm not just bragging. Watch and see. Tú vas a ser un star de parte de Dios. Gloria.
That's awesome, bro.
Man, listen, I just got chills when you said I almost took 40, thought that was the shorter time, paraphrasing, but wow, that shit, because hearing the story and then listening to it, it gives you a whole other level to it, and you killed that shit, man. I like the whole concept, man. It's kind of, it's like bars and like, new style, trap type thing, but it's still got the bars in it, man.
You got to get them on that Tuesday night show, JFK.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to talk behind the scenes. But Rico, in closing, man, what would you like to say, man? Where's your mindset now? Anybody that's up against the struggle right now in the streets, whether they did time or whether, they're fucking up on drugs or whatever it might be, what would you say to somebody that's on that verge of that crash out?
I would say that whatever it is right now is not what it's going to be in the future, guys. If we're able to make it to the future, if it's in God's plan for us to be alive that long, understand that whatever you think is a just cause as far as the crash out life, it can change. The people around you, the environments, the circumstances, even the way you think and look at the stuff that you got going on in your mind. And so taking that under consideration, put that into your process of thought and your risk and reward process before you make a decision, because you could be making a decision based on the people you love or the things that you care for, when in 5 or 10 years, that could all be different, gone, or not existent. And then it would be for nothing. So just make sure that what you're doing is for a cause that makes sense and that isn't more risk than reward. Instead, it'd be more reward than risk. And just understand that time changes everything. And so if you're on the verge, or if you're living that life and you feel like you're in too deep, nothing that nobody got to say about you or no way that people look at you right now is that important more than your life and making it further, because that same way they talk about you or look at you will change just depending on how good you do in life. So just take that into consideration, guys.
My man, you're a young dude, man, and you got a lot of knowledge, bro. And you schooled, my crowd, my audience is from like 35 to like 80. And for a younger guy like yourself, man, you got a lot of fucking knowledge, my dude. And I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it. But yeah, they're gonna get at you. I'm sure you're gonna get some inboxes. I got your Instagram. I got your project up there. One thing about these long games is they support that song. Glory is opposite. Awesome. I got your number, my man. Me and you gonna text. We'll build on some things. I got some things going on in the music. Shade 45 type things. Maybe I can put one of your songs on the radio for you. Something like that. And so let's build, man. I appreciate you being here, Rico, and thanks for sharing your story, sir.
Having me. I appreciate you guys.
Peace. We'll talk soon, my brother. Peace, brother.
Be safe.
Peace. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Rico, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do over here. We fly 39,000 feet, and you're going to be redirected to the other stream. We're going back on the porch. Jay Brill, J.F.K, Kevy, you're out there. James Jackson, you're out there. There might be an open link. Maybe J.H.K might jump on. Who knows what will happen? But we're going to go on the porch. You're going to be redirected over there, so I need everybody to go in that chat. I need you to light it up, though. I need you to light that up. We need to match the energy. Go over there and let's light it up.
I want that side.
Oh, shit. We in the hood?
Long gamers, it is time to match the energy. Let's feel the energy.
J.F.K. in the mix.
Come on, get up.
We're going over there. You're going to be redirected. This is the Rico Still Made It interview. I don't want to mess this up. I want to keep this nice and clean. I think this was a great interview. You're going to be redirected over to my other live stream that I'll probably start within 15 minutes. So everybody go over to that chat. Thanks everybody for being here. Peace and love.
I'll see you over there.
Got you. See you over there.
I'll be your middle, open in the middle. You want the mud with my pants in the middle. One of my style with the cash in the middle. I'm in the vibe with the bands in the middle. So when the job with my face, you show my city. I make the music, take the money, now it's no me give it. Without the dollars in the dark and the street. I be the papers in my head and I'm people keep it. All of my